I saw David tagged you at that restaurant last night. You know, honey, I've been thinking, don't you find it odd how he never takes you anywhere really nice? I mean, that place looked so ordinary.
Mom, what are you doing on my Instagram? And that restaurant was perfectly fine. David and I had a lovely evening. Thank you very much.
I'm just saying, sweetheart, you deserve so much better. When your father was courting me, he took me to the finest establishments in town. He understood what it meant to treat a woman properly. This David character seems so casual about everything.
Could we please not do this right now? I just got home from a 12-hour shift, and the last thing I want is another lecture about my boyfriend.
It's not a lecture, darling. I'm your mother. I have every right to be concerned when I see my beautiful, intelligent daughter settling for someone who clearly doesn't appreciate her worth. You're 28 years old, and he still hasn't even proposed properly.
Here we go again. Every single conversation somehow becomes about David's supposed inadequacies. I'm exhausted, Mom. I'm absolutely exhausted by this constant criticism of every choice I make.
I don't understand why you're getting so defensive. I'm only trying to protect you from making a mistake you'll regret for the rest of your life.
Protect me? Protect me? You've systematically torn apart every relationship I've ever had. Remember Jake? You said he was too ambitious. Then Marcus was too laid back. Now David is too ordinary. Tell me, Mom, what exactly would make someone good enough for your precious daughter?
You're being completely unfair. I never said those things about Jake. I simply pointed out that he worked too much to give you the attention you deserved. A woman needs to feel cherished, not ignored.
You called his boss 3 times, Mom. 3 times. You told him Jake was neglecting family obligations when we'd only been dating 4 months. He broke up with me the next week because he thought I was some kind of mama girl who couldn't handle an adult relationship.
That's not how it happened at all. I was simply trying to help him understand how to treat you properly. If he couldn't handle a little guidance about being a good partner, then he wasn't the right man for you anyway.
Guidance? You sabotaged my relationship. And then you did it again with Marcus, and now you're doing it with David. You always find some fatal flaw that makes them completely wrong for me.
I have never sabotaged anything. I've tried to open your eyes to red flags that you are too blinded by infatuation to see clearly. That's what mothers do. We see things our daughters can't. Red flags? The only red flag here is your complete inability to let me live my own life. Every man I date has to pass some impossible test that you've created in your head. There's no test, sweetheart. I just want you to find someone who loves you the way you deserve to be loved. Someone who puts you first, who makes you their priority.
Like Dad put you first? Like he made you his priority? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're trying to live vicariously through my relationships, since yours didn't turn out the way you dreamed.
How dare you bring your father into this? Our marriage is completely separate from what we're discussing here.
Is it, though? Because every criticism you make about David sounds exactly like the complaints you've had about Dad for the past 20 years. He doesn't take me nice places. He doesn't understand how to treat a woman properly. Sound familiar?
That's completely different. My father and I have been married for 30 years. We've built a life together, had children, created something meaningful.
And you've been miserable for most of it. You criticize him constantly, you roll your eyes when he tries to be romantic, and now you're trying to prevent me from finding any happiness because you can't stand the thought of your daughter succeeding where you failed.
I am not miserable. I'm trying to save you from making the same mistakes I did. I settled too quickly, too easily. And I don't want you to wake up in 20 years wondering what your life could have been.
So you admit it. You admit that you settled and you're unhappy. And instead of dealing with your own marriage, you're taking it out on mine by making sure I never feel secure in any relationship.
I'm trying to protect you from settling for less than you deserve. Is that so wrong? Is it wrong for a mother to want better for her daughter?
What you call wanting better feels like you wanting control. Like you can't stand the thought of me making my own choices, even if they're different from what you would choose.
I've lived longer than you have. I've seen more, experienced more. When I see you repeating patterns that I know will lead to disappointment, yes, I feel compelled to speak up.
But they're my patterns to repeat, my mistakes to make, my life to live. Don't you understand that your constant interference makes it impossible for me to trust my own judgment?
I never meant to make you doubt yourself. I only want to share the wisdom I've gained from my own experiences.
Your wisdom has made me second guess every feeling I have. Every time David does something sweet, I hear your voice pointing out what's wrong with it. Every time he makes me laugh, I wonder if you'd think he's too immature.
If my voice is that strong in your head, maybe it's because deep down you know I'm right about some of these things.
Or maybe it's because you've been in my head since I was old enough to date, telling me that my choices aren't good enough, that I'm not smart enough to choose my own partner.
I have never said you weren't smart enough. You're the most intelligent, capable woman I know. That's exactly why I can't understand why you keep choosing men who don't match your potential.
Because maybe my potential isn't what you think it is. Maybe I don't want the same things you wanted at my age. Maybe I don't need a man who takes me to fancy restaurants to prove his worth.
It's not about fancy restaurants, darling. It's about effort, intention, showing that he values you enough to plan something special.
Values me in ways you don't even see because you're too busy looking for things to criticize. He listens to me after bad days at work. He remembers that I hate mushrooms and always orders pizza without them. He holds my hand during scary movies.
Those are nice gestures, but they're basic human decency. Any decent person would do those things. I'm talking about something deeper. Ambition, drive, the ability to provide and protect.
Provide and protect? Mom, this isn't 1950. I can provide for myself. I don't need a man to protect me. I need someone who loves me, supports me, makes me feel like myself when I'm with him.
And David makes you feel like yourself? Really? Because from where I sit, you seem more anxious and uncertain since you've been with him.
I'm anxious because of this constant pressure from you. Every family dinner becomes an interrogation. Every phone call includes some subtle dig about my relationship. I'm walking on eggshells trying to defend someone I love to someone else I love.
I had no idea my concern was causing you so much stress. I thought I was being supportive by taking an interest in your life.
Taking an interest is asking how things are going and listening to my answer. What you do is investigate, analyze, and then deliver your verdict on whether my choices meet your approval.
Maybe I do get too involved. It's just that watching your child make choices, even as an adult, is terrifying. You want to protect them from every possible hurt.
But you can't protect me from hurt, Mom. And more importantly, you can't protect me from life. The hurt you're trying to prevent might be exactly what I need to learn and grow.
I remember when you were little. You'd run to me every time someone was mean to you at school. I could fix it then. Call the teacher, talk to other parents, make it better. I guess I've never learned how to stop trying to fix things for you.
You're not 7 years old anymore. I don't need you to call my boyfriend's boss or interrogate him about his intentions. I need you to trust that you raised me well enough to make good decisions.
I do trust you. It's other people I don't trust. Men can be so good at hiding their true intentions until it's too late.
Not all men are dad, Mom. And even if David disappoints me someday, that's my disappointment to experience, not yours to prevent.
Your father isn't a bad man. He's never been the romantic partner I dreamed of having. I suppose I hoped you might find something I never had.
But what if what I have with David is exactly what I need? What if your dream and my dream are completely different? What if I'm actually happy with ordinary restaurants and simple gestures?
I saw something on Instagram about mothers who project their unfulfilled dreams onto their daughters. One therapist was talking about how it damages the daughter's ability to trust her own feelings about relationships.
That sounds exactly like what's happening here. You're so focused on what you wish you had that you can't see what I actually do have.
Maybe I have been projecting. It's just so hard to watch you potentially make choices that might limit your happiness.
But they're my choices to make. And maybe they won't limit my happiness. Maybe they'll create a different kind of happiness than the one you imagined for me.
I've always pictured you with someone dynamic, successful, someone who would sweep you off your feet and give you adventures.
What if my adventure is building a quiet, stable life with someone who makes me laugh every day? What if my version of being swept off my feet is feeling completely comfortable being myself with another person?
When you put it that way, I suppose I can see the appeal. It's just so different from what I thought I wanted when I was your age.
And that's okay, Mom. We can want different things. We can find happiness in different ways. But you need me to let me find my own way, even if it's not the path you would choose.
I'm scared that if I stop giving advice, stop pointing out potential problems, something bad will happen and I'll have failed as your mother.
Being my mother doesn't mean preventing every possible mistake. It means loving me enough to let me make my own choices and being there for me no matter how they turn out.
That's terrifying. Stepping back and just trusting that you'll be okay without my guidance.
I know it's scary, but your constant involvement is pushing me away. I find myself not telling you about good things in my relationship because I know you'll find something wrong with them.
You've stopped sharing things with me? I had no idea. I thought we told each other everything.
We used to, but now every piece of information becomes ammunition for why David isn't right for me. So I've learned to keep the good stuff to myself to protect it from your criticism.
That breaks my heart. I never wanted to become someone you felt you had to protect your happiness from.
Then stop trying to control my relationship. Stop looking for flaws. Stop comparing every man I date to some impossible standard that nobody could ever meet.
What if I promised to try, to step back and let you live your own life without my constant input?
I'd want to believe you, but you've promised before. Remember when you said you'd stop criticizing Marcus? Then you accidentally mentioned to Aunt Linda that he was probably just using me for my cooking.
I didn't think Linda would say anything to you about that conversation.
That's not the point. The point is that you were still talking about my relationship behind my back, still trying to get other people to see the flaws you were convinced were there.
You're right. I was hoping someone else would validate my concerns and maybe help you see what I was seeing.
You need me to validate my choices, not undermine them. I need you to support my happiness, even if it looks different from what you imagined.
How do I do that? How do I turn off 30 years of being the mother who tries to protect and guide and fix everything?
Start by asking about my relationship instead of making observations about it. Ask how David makes me feel instead of telling me how he should make me feel.
That sounds so simple, but it feels like learning a completely new language.
It is a new language. It's the language of treating your adult daughter like an adult, not like a child who needs constant correction.
I've been holding on to the mother-child dynamic because it felt like the only way to stay important in your life.
You'll always be important in my life, Mom. But I need you to be important as someone who supports me, not someone who manages me.
What if I mess up? What if I slip back into old patterns?
Then we'll talk about it, but I need to see real effort. I need to see you catching yourself before you criticize, choosing to ask questions instead of making statements.
And if I do that, if I really try to step back and support your choices, will you start sharing things with me again? Will you let me be part of your happiness instead of just your problems?
Yes, but it's going to take time. Trust is rebuilt slowly. I need to see consistent change before I can feel safe being vulnerable with you again about my relationship.
I understand. I've damaged something precious and I need to earn it back.
The thing is, Mom, I want you to like David. I want you to see what I see in him. But I need you to look for good things instead of constantly searching for flaws.
Tell me something about him that makes you happy. Something I might not have noticed because I was too busy looking for problems.
He remembers every story I tell him about work, even the boring ones about difficult patients. And he asks follow-up questions days later because he actually cares about what matters to me.
That that is actually really sweet. I don't think your father has ever remembered the details of my work stories.
See? When you're open to seeing good things, they're there. David has so many wonderful qualities, but you've been so focused on what he's not that you've missed what he is.
Maybe I could try having lunch with him sometime. Just the two of us, without you there to protect him from my questions.
That terrifies me, honestly. But if you promise to go in with genuine curiosity instead of an agenda to find his weaknesses, maybe we could try that?
I promise I'll try. I can't guarantee I'll be perfect, but I promise I'll try to get to know him as a person instead of as a potential threat to your happiness.
That's all I can ask for. And, Mom, I need you to stop comparing my relationship to yours and Dad's. We're different people. What didn't work for you might work perfectly for me.
You're absolutely right. I've been using my marriage as the measuring stick for yours, and that's not fair to any of us.
I love you, Mom. I want you in my life, in my happiness, in my future. But I need you to trust me enough to let me choose my own path, even if it's not the path you would choose for me.
I love you too, sweetheart. More than I've ever been able to express properly. I'll try to show that love by giving you the space to be happy in your own way.
And I'll try to be patient while you learn this new way of being my mother. We're both going to have to practice this new dynamic.
From now on, when I feel the urge to criticize or give unsolicited advice about David, I'm going to ask myself, is this coming from love or from fear? And if it's fear, I'm going to keep it to myself.
That sounds like a really healthy boundary to set with yourself. And if you slip up, just be honest about it. Don't pretend it didn't happen or try to justify it. Deal. And you have to promise to tell me when I'm falling back into old patterns, even if it's uncomfortable. I need that feedback to change. I promise. We're going to figure this out together. We're going to learn how to have an adult relationship where I can be your daughter and also be my own person. I want that more than anything. I want to be someone you want to share good news with, not someone you feel you have to defend your choices to. Then let's start over. Hi, Mom. I'm in love with a wonderful man who makes me laugh every day and treats me with kindness and respect. I hope you'll take the time to get to know him.
Hi, sweetheart. I'd love to hear more about this man who makes my daughter so happy, and I promise to listen with an open heart instead of a critical mind.